we want to make Appchain deployments as easy as deploying a smart contract. And an Appchain is the opposite of general purpose blockchain. With an Appchain, you can customize many things, right? You can customize the gas fees. You can make it, only a certain number of transactions requires gas fees and others don't. So you could see this is very beneficial for a lot of projects that have many transactions.
Welcome to Polkadot Insider. I am here today with Christine Lee. She is the Ecosystem Development Lead. So welcome.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for having me today.
Pleasure to talk to you. So first of all, please give us an introduction about yourself and
Sure.
also about Tanssi Network.
Sure. So my name is Christine. I'm the Ecosystem Development Lead at Tanssi. My role, I guess, mostly focuses on growth, ecosystem growth. So I work a lot with builder communities, and try to at least share the information about Tanssi to builders, and also share knowledge about what app chains are, and talk to teams to try and experiment with Tansi's tech stack. Myself, I originated from my previous background was in DeFi, and then before I joined DeFi, I was in TradFi. I was working in a family business's strategic investment arm in Hong Kong, and the family business is very old. It's been operating in the Greater China region for over 120 years. Despite its age, it's the company, the management board, the chairman, they were all very progressive and always looking for, and always wanted to be at the forefront of disruptive technologies. So they invested a small check size in a blockchain fund. And then, but we used to get these like monthly reports on the blockchain fund's investment portfolio. We had like project information like Solana, Hedera, Hashgraph, Cosmos. Nobody on the team knew what they were, like had any idea what they were. And
That was when
that was like in 2018. And then since I was like always had an interest in blockchain technology when I was at uni. So
Why
yeah,
is
so
that?
I was yeah, so it was I don't know, it was fun. Like it was interesting. Like
What was your major?
finance.
Finance,
Yeah, finance. But I
okay.
always had like an interest in disruptive technologies, like technology that can change the world and all that. And then blockchain was interesting. I was like, I was a poor student. I was broke, so I didn't have any money to invest in blockchain technology. But I was like genuine interest in the technology. So I was like, it was pretty natural to me after looking through the investment portfolio, digging it through, and then also explaining to the management board of like what each investment was in the portfolio. So and then for through friends' introductions, I got into DeFi and then later joined Tanssi. So, sorry, I digress. You asked what Tanssi was, right?
Tanssi Network.
Yeah, Tanssi Network. So, yeah, Tanssi.
But it was interesting, by the way.
Thank you. And Tanssi is basically an Appchain infrastructure protocol. So the goal for Tanssi as a protocol is to make Appchain deployments easy. We want to make Appchain deployments as easy as deploying a smart contract. So I'll get into how we do that a bit later, and also explain a little bit on what Appchain are later. But basically, building an Appchain is not a trivial process. As like traditionally, starting from I think 2018, we've really seen like proliferation of app chains in the crypto space. One famous example out of Vietnam was probably Axie Infinity. It was basically smart contract based game built on Ethereum, and then they grown to a certain size where scalability was a problem, and then they spent a lot of resources in building a chain, and then that took them several months. So conventionally building a chain would took developers from 6 to 12 months and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so, and we are able to enable a deployment of AppChain in just under 10 minutes, and then at zero cost. So zero deployment cost. That's basically what Tanssi does in a nutshell.
That's awesome. So I assume that we're gonna mention a lot about app chains today.
Yeah, we
So
will.
can you walk us through that? Because I think not a lot of people they understand it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, AppChain is short for application specific blockchain. So by that means basically it's a blockchain where one single application has the entire blockchain onto itself, and the application can customize the blockchain's logic, runtime, various technical specifications according to the project's needs, whether it's technical requirements or some sort of governance sovereignty, and then and also having their own token as the gas fees to capture more value. So these are basically the benefits of app chains. And in essence, it's basically an application having a dedicated block space onto itself. And an app chain is the opposite of general purpose blockchains like Ethereum or like Solana, where multiple dApps are sharing the block space, and then from time to time you could have a project, a neighboring project on the same blockchain, maybe doing a NFT free mint, which shoots up the gas fees and affecting another blockchain's, another dApp's user base, user experience. So with an app chain, you can customize many things, right? You can customize the gas fees. You can make it, only a certain number of transactions requires gas fees and others don't. So you could see this is very beneficial for a lot of projects that have many transactions, but is not great in terms of value. For instance, like order book based dexes, they probably need this type of customization. When they send through the price orders, they probably don't want the blockchain to charge fees when people provide price quotations. Gaming is also one aspect, because like in games, people do click a lot, right? And then you don't want each
Too many times.
interaction with the smart contract requiring a gas fee. So this is what options can do. So like an optimization of user experience. Another thing is probably like governance, and also governance sovereignty, as well as like fostering an ecosystem, right? So it's back to the example I use X Infinity. They built chain, the Ronin chain was basically purely for the game X Infinity, but I think now they're starting to kind of cultivate an ecosystem of different games around X Infinity onto the chain. So everything is, and then they have like all the governance, voting, all tailored towards the growth of the chain and its ecosystem. Yeah, and that's basically what app chains are. And then at Tansy, we believe a future of like multiple a future of thousands of chains, a multi-chain future, where as developers looking for more powerful solutions, looking to pack a lot more features into the dApp, they would, and also as they looking to capture more value, I think app chains will become more popular amongst developers.
So how does Tansy do that?
Yeah. So we basically, as I mentioned, it's so from a developer perspective, Tenzi has a kind of like a option management dashboard. Anybody could go onto Testnet and try out a dashboard and deploy a chain. So myself, I have no background in computer science. I don't know a single line of code, but I can deploy a chain without writing a single line of code in just 5 easy steps in just under 10 minutes. So Tansy basically, the protocol tech stack offers three main components. Number one is basically an app chain framework. So this, by framework, I mean it's kind of like a shell, whether it's EVM-based chain or substrate chain. We support both. They can basically launch via the EVM templates or substrate templates, so they can have an EVM chain or substrate chain in just 10 minutes.
Is that equivalent to like infrastructure, or it's not?
It's part of the infrastructure.
Okay.
And then, but having the framework is not it, right? So
What's the frame, not like the whole, like the brick and like stuff. Like
exactly
cemented stuff.
what's really complicated is what's underneath it, right? So traditionally, having an app chain, people need to deal with things like consensus, node operators, bootstrapping for validators. They need to set up their own bridges, block explorers. If there's DeFi project, they need oracles. It's indexes. It's a bunch of things. And they're not. They're things that they're outside of coding. That's outside of a typical developer's day-to-day work and responsibilities. It's a lot of negotiations. So
And then you provide it.
Exactly. So what we try to make the process simple. So the second component, what we're bringing is called a block producer set. It's a shared, decentralized block producer set.
Block producers.
Exactly. It's a shared block producer set where it's decentralized permissionless. We have like hundreds of block producers. Essentially, the Tanssi protocol orchestrates these block producers. So the actions deploy through Tanssi. They don't live on top of Tanssi. They live in parallel to Tanssi. And then whenever these blocks or these chains need to produce blocks, it sends messages via the AXIM
Of Polkadot.
or Polkadot through the relay chain to Tanssi. And then the Tanssi block producer would rotate to that chain and produce the blocks on behalf of them. So Tansy basically plays an orchestrated role where all the Appchains are deployed to Tansy whenever they produce blocks. We just instruct the protocol instructs these block producers to go there and produce a block. So by doing this, it saves a lot of work from builders that, in terms of, setting up their own collators or block producers, and then also, trying to, design some sort of tokenomics to incentivize block producers. Essentially, this is what Tansy does already, have been done on behalf of the block producers, on behalf of the app chains. And a third component would be the set of toolings. You can kind of see it almost like a Shopify for app chain. So we've negotiated with a lot of third-party service providers, like wallets. So, for instance, Talisman, subwallets, and we also have other tools such as oracles, indexes, bridges. We're also working very closely with Moonbeam on MRL, so that an app chain, when they deploy, they have access to bridging solutions on the first day. And all of these we have, some of them we have negotiated very exclusive partnership and discounts. And then so developers, they can just come to our dashboard, Appchain management dashboard, pick and choose the tools they need. And
Like a toolbox.
it's like toolbox, exactly. It's like Shopify apps marketplace, where everybody, when they want to launch their own e-commerce store, they can choose the type of tools they need. This is very similar experience, except we don't charge any commissions on these things. It's like, I think in essence we want to make it like very decentralized and also developer oriented experience. So yeah, so that's basically the three main components to it. So as I said in the beginning, whenever a developer wants to launch a chain, they just come use a dashboard and pick and choose anything they need, and then they can upload any smart contracts or any pellets they already have. If it's substrate, and the chain is good to go.
Brilliant. So, why Polkadot, but not other ecosystem? Yeah.
So, this is interesting, right? So I guess like from I'm not a dev, but from our dev team, basically our feedback is that Polkadot has, I would say, like the most advanced infrastructure set out of all the other ecosystems in the blockchain space. And by advanced, we're saying it's probably years ahead of many things. And then if you look at a lot of the developments in the general crypto space, you see a lot of infrastructure almost converging to Polkadot's infrastructure, where there's a layer 0, that is responsible for interoperability. And then also there are projects building for shared security layer. So, and then there's also, for instance, rollups, the chains living on top of it. And then, so as I described, probably you've already noticed, like something that's crucial and also a kind of like a bread and butter for Tansi's protocol is a shared security component of it. So Polkadot has interoperability and shared security baked into the relay chain as a protocol. Because of this, it's very easy for us to build block producer set where we can produce blocks on behalf of the different actions that deploy through Tansy. So shared security is basically one main component of it.
Security and then interoperability.
Yeah, interoperability is also the second component of it, right? So when apps need to produce blocks, they need to send messages to Tansy protocol, and then with XCM already baked in, it also makes it easy. So yeah, and then also like interoperability, I think it's not just limiting to like Tansy protocol. So a lot of app chains if they building if they're building or set up as a kind of standalone layer one, it's very difficult for them to be communicating to the outside world, let's say the EVM space, the Solana space, because we have players like Moonbeam, so Moonbeam Rooted Liquidity, where it has already almost set up as kind of like the hub, the EVM communication hub on Polkadot between Polkadot and EVM space. App chains can leverage on MRL through XCM so that they are also connected to a much bigger crypto space on the first day.
I mean, it's understandable because Tanssi is like the purpose of Tanssi is leading to the builders, provide builders like good tools or frame, like what you were saying.
Exactly.
And Polkadot also like heading towards not just user but a lot more for builder as well. So I think that's how the network and Polkadot match.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. 100%.
So I heard that you guys are having you guys launched the testnet already.
Yeah, we have a
And
test
when
already.
was the mainnet? Can you like reveal the upcoming plans?
Yeah, this is. I think that we still have various moving pieces, but we are basically planning for something in Q3, Q4 this year for mainnet launch. But the final date hasn't been decided yet. Like even we don't know ourselves
I see.
entirely.
Probably this year or
This year, yeah, this year
this
Q3,
year.
Q4.
Okay.
No,
I'll
not
take your
next
word.
year. Not next year.
Okay, so I heard that you also have like an incentivized campaign. So
Yes.
tell me about it.
Yeah, so it's an incentivized testnet campaign, and then it's a very fun name. It's called Let's Forking Dance.
Let's forkin
Yes,
done.
yeah, exactly. It's not a swear word. It's fork.
I didn't mention that.
It's like it's short for LFD.
Mhm.
It's very similar to LFG. So let's F and go. And then we're allocating 1% of our network to incentivize the activities on the testnet, and then the 1% is split amongst builders, users, and blog producers. So, and then split amongst the three groups is 40% for builders, 40% for users, and then 20% for blog producers. So yeah, we're still recruiting, onboarding more builders to participate in the campaign. I think what we want to do is basically compensate for the opportunity costs and also incentivize people to experiment on Tenzi's tech stack. And yeah, and then I think we already have quite a significant growth in terms of community numbers because of the LFD. So another thing that builders would probably take advantage of the LFD campaign is not just on getting the a share of the token airdrop, but also they can leverage on the user growth. Basically, we've invested a lot in marketing for the LFD campaign, so builders would be able to take advantage of this opportunity as we want to take the whole ecosystem with us in terms of community growth and user growth.
I just think of a question that it's gonna be a little leaning more to your perspective.
Mhm.
So, do you think a project can lean more to the builders factor than the users? I mean, it depends on the project as well, right? But normally they would say like there should be a balance.
You mean as an infrastructure project, whether we
It
should
depends on the
lean
narrative.
towards builders, more towards more towards builders and users? Yeah, that's a
Because
tricky question.
yeah, because like Tansy, you guys have like an incentivized campaign, right? Well, that's gonna head to the users. So like you're trying to make like a balance. So
Exactly. As you can see, it's 40-40, so that's an equal share of incentivization for builders and users. I guess as a ecosystem lead, I mean personally, I think that's they're both equally important, right? So we are in terms of the actual tech stack, we spend a lot of resources in optimizing for developer experience, right? And we have I think if you talk to many builders, I think we have a very good reputation. Adevra has a really good reputation of providing like very prompt support whenever there's any kind of technical challenges. Also, the builders that are building in our ecosystem. So I think it's I think they what we're trying to create is more kind of a virtuous circle where we have good builders building good products, and then they will attract users, and then also good builders, not just good products but also like they're really good with building the community. So it basically attracts more users to the entire ecosystem, and then more users will attract more better builders, and then so it goes in a very good virtual cycle. So I wouldn't say that builders are more important than users or users are more important than builders. I think they're both very equally important components for an ecosystem.
Love your answer.
Thank
Every
you.
time, every time I ask someone, there'll be a different one, but they kind of really focus on the equation. It should be the balance.
Yeah, 100% it has to be the balance. Yeah.
I see. So I think we covered most of the topics today. So one last question for you. Waiting for the mandate. So is there anything that you guys going to do within the year? Any other events or like activities that you guys will, do?
We don't know yet. To be honest, the real answer is like we don't know. Um, so
Answer
like
as
what
well.
what like yeah, crypto is moving so fast. Like we
Sure.
can only like it's very difficult to even plan for the next month. But in terms of events, we honestly have no idea. But one thing I guess we can talk about is on the expansion side of things. So as I mentioned previously, Tanssi started on Polkadot because of its tech infrastructure, and then on Polkadot we've basically validated our technology. And then moving forward, we also internally we're exploring expansion outside of Polkadot. As you can see, as I mentioned, a lot of the technology is almost converging to Polkadot's current infrastructure architecture. So it makes it, I think, at this point of time, it's many things are still very primitive outside of the Polkadot ecosystem, but I think we're at a time where we can start to experiment in replicating Tanssi tech stacks onto different ecosystems. Not saying it's gonna be a one-to-one replication because obviously we kind of need to adapt to the different architecture.
I think that's
Um,
important to clean.
exactly. But I think at the end of the day, we want to be a Appchain infrastructure protocol, not just being limited to Polkadot, but for the entire Web3 ecosystem.
That's the whole vision.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we did it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
for
much for your time.
coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.